Hi and good evening, everybody. Welcome to another late night stream of mine, and it's gonna be U-Boat again. So, for the next 2 or 3 hours, we're gonna slip again into the role of a German submarine commander in Second World War. And, well, after a brief rescheduling yesterday night, now we are back to our good old long-term campaign. So what I do is I'm actually doing a complete playthrough through the game, having started in the very beginning of the war with the Type 2, and then I've gone through all the missions, mission by mission, streaming just everything, sharing all adventures with you guys. And yeah, here we are in the year of 43 in late November, which means that we are already 4 years into the war, and in real life I'm doing this campaign since something like a year, with a few streams per week, late night streams, and yeah, since a while I am uploading these streams to YouTube as well, so thank you guys on YouTube for joining me there and watching. And yeah, I'm sorry I don't have the time to really do some cutting, so I just upload the whole stream, and everybody who likes the game can kind of skip through it and take a look at the snippets that you like best. So yeah, and of course a warm welcome to all you guys on Twitch, my beloved little community. So at the moment we are going with a Type 9, and we found out that the Type 9A is still buggy, and it's pretty sure that it's not due to that single mod that we are running. It's most probably very high probability that it's not due to the Deep Leaks mod that we are running, which is actually the only mod that I am running. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to port and switch back to the Type 7. And yeah, maybe switch back to the Type 9 later when the developers fixed the bug. And yeah, it's a perfect time to get back to port. We are in the Mediterranean, and we have just finished a 10,000 tons patrol. And yeah, this patrol is part of the Battle of the Mediterranean. You see us at 130,000 tons out of 250,000 that we need to finish the last stage of this set of missions. Yeah, we've sunk, I think it was something like 2 tankers and 1 or 2 transports. And on the way back, let's do a hydrophone check now and then, just to make sure that no other target slips our attention. So although officially the patrol is over, we can still sink, and we can still collect tonnage for this overall mission goal here. Let's take a little look at our status. What about the torpedoes? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 torpedoes in the tubes, 1 in spare. Let's see if we still have some torpedoes outside. Yes, we have. So it is 10 o'clock in the evening, so it would be a good opportunity while at night to transfer these torpedoes. from external to internal. Hey, weight loss, good evening. How are you doing? I hope you had a good Friday. Yeah, my Friday was alright. Yeah. I actually did have to work, but yeah, I called it a day relatively early, so working just till something like 2:30 or 3 o'clock, and then called it a day. So nice relaxing Friday. As usual, I'm doing pizza for the family on Friday evenings. And yeah, after a nice TV evening or streaming evening with the family, now they went to bed and I do have some time for our little hobby here. So, what else do we have? What about the food? No. Fuck. Don't.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Here, what about the food? Yeah, still alright. And discipline is at 100%, perfectly fine. No water in the bilge, obviously. And I think the stern torpedoes are still untouched. 2 torpedoes in the tubes, 2 in the storage, and there is an enormous stern torpedo storage of six torpedoes. So. All right. Let's see what they're doing with the torpedoes. All right.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Yeah, let's do a bit of time acceleration. What does it look like in the late stage? Yeah, it looks like they just have rigged kind of a slide to get the torpedo inside. Yeah, that looks pretty professional and technical, but in principle I just can't believe that you could do it like that just with this slide. I would pretty much guess that you would have to rig a tackle. Some hoist to get it done. However, almost done, and there they are. So we still have plenty of torpedoes for more action. Yeah, we only need to find a target. And to do that, we are going to do our next hydrophone check right now. There we go. Yeah, like usual, what's gonna happen if you order the standard, if you issue the standard order of hydrophone check, there is the off-watch crew running to the fore compartment to give additional 4 ballast. Here somebody already has opened the valves, I guess, so that right now, yeah, water is filling or has already filled the 4 ballast tanks and probably the stern ballast tanks as well. And any minute we are gonna go down to 50 meters, and the crew will keep the boat at 50 meters with engines turned off for 5 minutes, pure hydrophone listening. And down there we are in the complete silence of the depth, and the hydrophone gives us quite some considerable range. See? Oh, that's close. Come on. That's close. Single ship. Distance 5 miles. Well, now I'm curious what type of ship this is gonna turn out to be. But nevertheless, let's finish the hydrophone check, the 5 minutes, and then get back to the surface. We don't have much margin. Pretty much looks like the guy is moving north. So that's my guess for now, that the guy is moving on something like this course.
45 Meter. Kurs setzen.
Let's get on a parallel course, but yeah, we have to keep in mind that this is still guesswork.
25 Meter. Äußerste Kraft voraus.
Let's go flank. And if we go flank for
5 Meter.
15 minutes,
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
and the guy, yeah, if it's just an ordinary transport, he would go 2 miles in 15 minutes. It might be that we already have a smoke column above the horizon. Let's check that. Yeah, they should be a bit more ahead than port abreast. Don't see anything yet. No smoke column. Well, yeah, let's give it a save.
Ja.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet. Torpedorohr 2 gewartet. Torpedorohr 3 gewartet. Torpedorohr 6 gewartet.
So that would be 15 minutes, and we're gonna do one more hydrophone check.
Sichere Tiefe gehen.
Bleibt ruhig und konzentriert, Männer. Wir schaffen das.
Alarm beenden.
Yeah, you don't have to be on battle stations for now.
Ja.
Yeah, according to my dead reckoning, the enemy should be here if it were just an ordinary transport. But of course, there is still the risk that it is just a fisherman.
25 Meter.
Yeah, I actually go down to 50 meters because at periscope depth I always have that gut feeling that the hydrophone contacts are not very reliable when you're just at something like 10 meters.
Peilung 265 Grad.
Well, yeah, okay, not quite clear yet.
60 Meter. Herr Kaloy? Tauchen auf 50 Meter. Meter. Anblasen.
Yeah, let's get back to the surface right away.
90 Meter. Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 60 Meter.
It's almost 2 miles that they sailed. So I think it's not a fisherman.
20 Meter.
My guess is that this is a decent merchant.
Bäckerleut, wir sind aufgetaucht.
So, Captain, please man the conning tower. There he's coming. Yeah, it should be straight abreast on port. And we should see a smoke. There should be smoke visible. If not... Okay. See no smoke. Gives me a bit of worry that it might still be just a small fisherman. Yeah, we are playing with high difficulty settings and also unstabilized scope and binoculars, but no smoke column visible.
Ja. Kurs setzen.
So half an hour, bring them there, and half an hour would bring us there. So let's do it like
Kurs
that.
setzen.
What would be the distance? 3 miles. We should still be out of vision range on that course.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Another 15 minutes, right? Well, it's nighttime, but still I'm a bit surprised that I don't see any smoke yet. Is there something? At 240 ships spotted. I don't see it. I just don't see it. true says that there is something. And the hydrophone and the extrapolation says that as well. Okay, by now they should be there, which would be minus 130 degrees, would be 360, 260, 230. There should be something around there. But I don't see anything.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Still 4 miles away. There is something. 275. All right.
Alle Maschinen stopp.
Let's just stop and wait it out. It will be pretty hard to figure out what kind of ship is coming up there. Maybe you can help me finding out what it's gonna be. It's not a fast mover, I think. It's a relatively slow ship, so my guess is that it's an unarmed merchant. So hard in the darkness. Guys, where are you? have such a small vision range. Let's go for periscope depth.
Seerohrtiefe.
Yeah, in the darkness we are almost blind. But we can hear well. So let's go down.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
I think it should be somewhere around here. Would be my guess. It's another 15 minutes.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind auf Seerohrtiefe. Boot für Rundblick eingesteuert. Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 265 Grad.
Yeah, let's get a bit deeper.
Tauchen auf 30 Meter. 5 Meter.
Yeah, as I said, I don't trust the hydrophone readings when I am just underneath the water, just underneath the surface on periscope depth. Ah, Vulvulu, hey, good evening. How are you doing?
15 Meter.
How was your day? What about your weekend? Got to work or do you have the weekend off?
Aktuelle Tiefe 35 Meter.
Yeah, nice. Good news.
30 Meter.
Yeah, I figured out, or actually there were hints of weight loss, and I tried it and I could 100% confirm it, that the type 9 is buggy still. So if you have leaks, I mean real hull breaches in the type 9, then you would get an insanely high stream rate of water into the boat, which you just couldn't handle. So any leak, any hull breach for the type 9
30 Meter.
A is just deadly. And yeah, so I decided that's no fun, so we are gonna go back to port and switch back to type 7. What weight loss knew is that the type 9B obviously doesn't have that bug, but yeah, that doesn't help me much at the moment because I don't have the next blueprints yet. Yeah, and that's bad. I mean, just within seconds, a whole compartment is flooded as soon as you have a hull breach. No chance to do anything about that. I tried it out yesterday night. Oh, well, actually 2 sessions ago I tried it out, and that was why I decided to start a new campaign until it was fixed. Because I thought that I always would need blueprints to change the boat, but weight loss gave me the hint that you could always go back to boats that you already had without blueprints. And so we are gonna continue our good old long-term campaign in the Mediterranean, and yeah, We did finish the mission with the type 9, that's fine. But yeah, get back to port and switch back to type 7. But on the way, we might still get some tonnage. Yeah, that's pretty bad in my eyes. This is pretty much of a showstopper for the type 9. They really need to do something about that. And yeah, weight loss, you said that they already said in one of the patch notes that they fixed it. But yeah, it didn't work. It's not fixed. Yeah, let's give it a bit of a time acceleration. They are coming in. They are very low speed. Let's see. Maybe it's just a fisherman. It's moving so slow. Yeah, we will see. We will see in 15 or 30 minutes. Yeah, I don't have it on the radar. Is it 2 weeks since the last update? Yeah, there is still work to be done with the updates.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Herr Kaloy,
Closing in. So what's the distance at the moment? 2 miles.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet. Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
ja?
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet. Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
So 15 minutes. There they are. We could try another pretty unsure, uncertain extrapolation. So within 15 minutes they went. Maybe it's just a fisherman. It's really slow. It's really slow. Probably just a fisherman. So let's get back to periscope depth.
15 Meter.
Another 15 minutes and they are dead ahead of me.
Aktuelle Tiefe 25 Meter.
So Mr. Ahlers, please give some advice to the depth steers crew and bring the boat to periscope depth.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind auf Seerohrtiefe. Boot für Rundblick eingesteuert.
The observation periscope. The problem is that the observation periscope is really a bit short. Yeah, I guess it's just a fisherman. No smoke column. Please. No ghost contact again. Yeah, meanwhile, I'm very sure that it is just a fisherman.
Herr Kaloy?
Yeah, I would already have spotted smoke if it were some large transport. Pretty sure it's just a fisherman.
Ja?
Do we have the moon out?
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy? Herr Kapitän?
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Looks like it's not moving at all
5 gewartet.
at the moment.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Okay, the Summer Game Fest. What kind of Summer Game Fest was that? Some local party at your spot? Okay, so anything new, anything spectacular?
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Something which sounds promising. But hey, come on, we're just gonna get to the surface and check that out. Chronicles Medieval. I think I saw some video about that. Star Wars Zero Company. Yeah. Yeah, and this Chronicles Medieval, I think is it also a bit like, yeah, that you really build? I mean, a bit like Mount and Blade, but that you can actually build villages or something like that. I think I saw something. And yeah, it made me pretty curious. Because as you know, I'm a big fan of Mount and Blade. So let's get to the surface and see what we have. So, Captain, if you were so kind and man the bridge.
Torpedoboot 3 gewartet.
It's really strange that we don't see anything. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. And I think that also this Star Wars thingy also looked quite interesting. Come on. Hey, guys.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Why don't I spot anything? Or is it a German submarine which did dive away?
Torpedorohr 6 gewartet.
Kleine Fahrt voraus.
Come on, we must have eyes on them right now. Yeah, it's probably just a tiny fisherman. Is it? Something there? Nope. What's the matter? That's really eerie now.
Kurs setzen.
Come on, where is the guy?
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Funkraum besetzen.
Herr Kaloi.
Fishing boat. Oh, yeah. I could have had that earlier. So, guys, let's keep going.
Kurs setzen. Halbe Fahrt voraus.
It was just a fisherman.
Herr Kaloi.
Too tiny to actually spot it in the darkness, probably.
etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Natürlich.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Let's do another hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
It's 8 o'clock. The sun is up, but behind these clouds, obviously.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5
Auf
Meter.
E-Motoren wechseln.
Isn't that beautiful? I like these graphics with the bubbles. Right after diving, that stream of bubbles coming out of
25
some
Meter.
cavities.
Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe.
Now let's see if we hear something down here at 50 meters. Engines stopped. Complete silent running. And just listening.
Torpedo.
Mr. Strauss, please.
55 Meter.
Yeah, we might still have that fisherman in range.
Meter.
Hey, Holiday Punch, good evening. Yeah, 1 a.m. Do you? So from here I can't really see the sky, to be honest, from my computer room. Yeah, well, it's getting summer. It's getting summer. I love the seasons. I like spring and autumn. Maybe the most. Yeah. Yeah. This is why I love DayZ so much. The native map being a wonderful autumn atmosphere. No, but I agree. In real life. And yeah, I remember. Yeah, I have been to the US only twice, and both times it was pretty short business trips. But the one trip we went to Newark by train and then by car in a several hours drive to Pennsylvania. And it was autumn. And I remember that was beautiful and fascinating. Miles and miles through these autumn colorful woods. Hey, Chainsaw! Great to have you in. How are you doing? Hope you had a good Friday. Hope you had a good week. So let's slip into the weekend together. By the way, no contact as it looks like. Even the fisherman seems to be gone.
Anblasen.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, here in Germany we had a day off, a public holiday yesterday, and many people don't work on this Friday, didn't work today. I actually did have to do some work, but me too, I also stopped relatively early, something like 2:30. I called it a day.
Aktuelle Tiefe 15 Meter.
Alright, there we get back to the surface and no contacts. Well, that's how it is.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yeah, very good. Let's give it a save. And yeah, holiday punch. I'm sometimes thinking that if climate change is really gonna kick in and it's getting more and more warm, I'm gonna have to relocate myself to Scandinavia.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Okay, let's go till 2 o'clock in the afternoon and let's give it another hydrophone check here.
Auf 50 Meter.
Yeah, portable air condition unit, yeah. Yeah, well, actually, here at our place, it's still perfectly fine. We live in a very old building. This building is, yeah, we live in the historic old town of a small town. And the building is something like 200 or 300 years old. And the ground floor is made from very thick stone walls. So the ground floor is always very pleasant, even in summer.
Motoren wechseln.
And here my little computer chamber is actually in the ground floor.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Bestätige.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
Okay, it's said to be moving with medium speed, so maybe we are lucky. And this is gonna be a real
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
merchantman.
55 Meter.
So let's do our assumptions again. Let's assume that it's an ordinary merchantman moving with 10 knots. Then after 1 hour, it should be somewhere roughly on that circle, depending on their course. Like usual, I've finished the hydrophone check. 5 minutes, just to be sure that we don't miss anything.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
There he is, nice. And it is... Mr. Strauss says that the guy is moving in.
Anblasen.
45 Meter.
Kurs setzen.
So now for us, when we are moving with flank speed, after 1 hour we should
Äußerste Kraft voraus.
be here.
Tiefe 25 Meter.
Now 10 past 2. Let's go until 10 past 3 and then give it another hydrophone check to get a second data point for extrapolation of their course and speed. And that's usually
Sie sind aufgetaucht.
rather reliable. Yeah, funny, we are pretty slow again. Just moving with something like 14 knots at maximum. Don't quite understand that because it's only 6 knots of wind speed. Sometimes that boat is moving with 17 knots. Yeah, but in average it looks like that this guy, the Type 9, is a bit slower than the Type 7. Yeah, I don't understand why, but now we are moving with 18 knots. Oh, maybe there are still a few little tiny bugs about the Type 9. However, let's do another hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
So, come on, we were moving just with 11 knots in average. Pretty weird. Valves being opened, the crew in the front compartment, ballast tanks getting flooded, fore and stern. There we are.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Meter.
Herr Kaloin?
Now, Mr. Strauss, please give us your reading.
Meter. Herr Kaloi?
Herr Kaloin? Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 315 Grad.
Yeah, okay, I would guess this is no moving with 8 knots on that course. That's fine. And pretty sure that this guy is no fisherman.
Herr Kapitän?
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
50 Meter.
8 knots. The next hour they will go that way. And what about us? 1 hour is gonna bring us there. Hey, Captain Jimbo. Great to have you in. Thank you very much for the raid. That's very much appreciated. Hi, Captain Jimbo. Hi, the 4 other guys who came with you. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing?
Aktuelle Tiefe
What did you stream?
50 Meter.
Yeah, it's all right. So we just finished the patrol. It was a 10,000 tons patrol, and we did sink it. Yeah, we are somewhere in the middle of that last stage of the Battle of the Mediterranean with 130,000 tons. So that means we still need a few. And at the moment, it pretty much looks like we are going after another merchantman. Ah, yes, Foxhole. I find the game very fascinating. You explained it a bit to me when I was watching last time. And quite like it. Quite like it. But, well, there is always this kind of basic decision with, yeah, having very limited time and few games which I really love, and a job and a family. And it's always a bit of a threshold to decide to dive into a new game. And I think Foxhole is one of these games which is very fascinating and where you really are dumping a lot of time into. I mean, in a positive sense, because it's fun, but still,
Aktuelle Tiefe?
it probably only makes sense to start that game if you are ready to spend quite a lot of time to kind of understand the mechanics and everything.
30 Meter.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Gonna give you another raid. Maybe at a better time. Hey, Captain Adonis, nice to have you in. So, I guess you came in with Captain Jimbo?
Auf diese Motoren wechseln.
Yeah.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Of course, UBOAT is the best game ever. Oh yeah, didn't you say that you had some technical issues? Are there submarines in Foxhole, actually? Yeah, there are ships, you said. Yeah, I think I really love that concept with these areas and, yeah, if you have a good community, these battles might really be great. Hey, Captain Adonis, thank you very much for the follow. So, what I understand is that you are streaming UBOAT as well, yeah? Alright, gonna check that out after the stream. Nice to have you in. So, one more export. Yeah, I think most of the guys in the stream are more or less U-boat experts. Yes, yep. It's the new DLC, and at the moment I am riding the Type 9. I switched to it, but I actually did find out that the Type 9 is a bit buggy, so at the moment my plan is to get back to the port of La Spezia and switch back to the Type 7. I don't know if you did recognize it, but the Type 9A has some severe issues because as soon as you get a hull breach, the flow rate of the incoming water is so insanely large that you can't do anything. Any compartment is flooded in seconds, so that's a bug. And yeah, weight loss actually said that for the Type 9B it's not an issue, but for the Type 9A it actually is. So did you actually manage it to do it with the Type 9? The Type 9 is terrible and unrealistic, I would say. Unrealistically hard. I'm pretty sure that it's a bug. So I'm going to change back to the Type 7 and hope that the developers will soon correct that bug. So let's go for one more hour. Yeah, you're right. They could be better. That's a bit like, yeah, that's pretty unlike the team of programmers are usually doing a beautiful job, and they are very good with the graphics representation of just everything. But this external loading of the torpedoes, they didn't put much of an effort into that, I think. Yeah, I mean, of course, it pretty much depends on how you like to do the gameplay. I'm playing actually at almost 100%, 98 or something. The only setting that I don't put to full is the effect of depth charges. Of course, that makes a big difference, and I think if you go to hard in terms of depth charges, that's just too deadly. I'm only playing with medium difficulty in terms of depth charges, but everything else I have put to full difficulty, so that even though this one I have in medium, I'm always almost 100%. And yeah, if you get used to it, it's rather relaxing. Okay, yeah, respect. Respect. So when you did 98%, which one was the setting that you didn't put to 100%? I'm curious. By the way, I never completed the whole war. So maybe this, no, you see I am in end of November 43. Maybe this is gonna be the first time in the next 1 or 2 months to finish this one. Ah, the food, okay, interesting. I never felt that to be much of a limiting factor. So what was it, 20 past? And let's do another hydrophone check to confirm
50 Meter.
if my dead reckoning is alright, and then they should be here. And we would be on the perfect intercept course. Yeah, what I really find amazing is the guys who play no save and Iron Man mode. I mean, you don't have the Iron Man mode in the setting of the game, but there are people who are actually playing it like when you die, and you replay, you restart the game. And that's pretty amazing. People who do a whole playthrough with this attitude.
Aktuelle Tiefe
No saves. I kind of like that, but I'm still afraid. I think even for my next playthrough, I wouldn't do it that hardcore like. So if I would just die, if the whole boat would get sunk, I think I would always reload an earlier save.
45 Meter.
Yeah, luckily it doesn't happen too often because, yeah, it always gives me a, debuff in terms of immersion.
50 Meter.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
So now, let's see where they are. So we have the UK,
Aktuelle Tiefe 55 Meter.
we have Germany, we have North America, Tunis actually, and yeah, actually weight loss, he's from Germany and me too, as you might have guessed by my accent. So, yeah, I'm living in the Frankfurt area, and I'm always curious if you could just give me a rough hint where you're from, Captain Adonis. I mean, if you want to keep privacy, you don't have to tell, but yeah, just so, yeah, because I love that concept of streaming, particularly because, oh yeah, aqua icing. I just wanted to ask if Canada is also there. And there you are. Good evening. So let's hope that we are gonna get that guy. It's really slow. Let's hope that it is not a fisherman. No, it seems to be slower than I thought. Yeah, some Australia in the stream. So that was making me particularly happy in the last weeks, that now and then we actually had visitors from down under in the stream. Yeah, the timing, of course, is pretty uncomfortable, pretty unsuitable for Australia and New Zealand. But yeah, that's the good thing about my late night streaming. Around here it's late night, and the later it gets, the more it is realistic that there is also people from Canada, US are joining the stream. So always glad to have you guys in.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
Yeah, let's give it a mark there. What was it, single 08 or 07? Yeah. 7. Let's just hope that it is not a fisherman. I think it's moving too fast for a fisherman. And we also have France in, haven't we? Die Savant. Do I remember right that you're French? Great to have you in. Okay, so sorry. I somehow, so I was wrong. Great. Nevertheless, beautiful to have you. So if that number resembles your date of birth, we are pretty close of the same age, actually. Thank you. But yeah, maybe you should try it again. Beautiful game. Yep, but watching streams is great as well. I pretty much enjoy it as well. And yeah, I most like these smaller streams. So if you have a big streamer, like having 1,000 or more people watching, then it really becomes pretty unpersonal. I quite like these streamers. When you have something like 100 or 200 or 300 people watching, then usually the chat still works. The chat is not flooded with bullshit, but you could really communicate there. Because usually just a few guys, just some percentage of the people in the stream are actually using the chat.
5 Meter.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
And yeah, okay, so that's me, definitely. So, like, if I look at the number now, there are 15 people in the stream, and that's just great for me. So, thank you guys for being in. I am actually just a small streamer, and 15 guys watching, that's beautiful. Yes. Yeah, okay. Yep, I see. And this is what I also love about it. It's the interaction. And particularly this, like, interaction across oceans. You could actually talk to people who are an ocean away, and that's still fascinating. Yes, worldwide interaction, yeah. Yeah, with all these wars and fights going on in the world, I still hope that the internet and streaming might still bring the world together.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Okay. One more hour and they would be there. Now it's more like half an hour and we would be there, right?
Kurs
And half an hour would see them there. So let's do it like that. It's a small group compared to 7 billion. Yeah, that's right. 7 billion people. These are numbers that nobody can imagine anymore. Yeah, let's give it a save. Better safe than sorry. And now it's 4:30. Let's go until 5 o'clock. We are going pretty fast right now. It's getting dark. Oh, I hate it. We are gonna have a night attack. Is it even 8? Yeah, okay, I didn't have that number in mind. 8.3 billion people in the world.
Kurs setzen.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
So here we are. Let's give it another hydrophone check.
Auf 50 Meter.
Yeah, Google is great, Wikipedia is great, and well, nowadays we have ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. And there we have a smoke column already, more or less dead ahead. And the sun has already set, I guess. Yep. Well, it's winter, it's late November, so the days are getting pretty short. And yeah, beautiful. Look at that. I love these graphics. I love these animations. Yeah, come on, step away from battle stations. You can relax. But let's get another hydrophone reading. Yeah, I'm actually at the moment I am sailing with the Type 9. I'm just on my way back to the base to switch back to Type 7. So I have these, I think I have the 3rd level hydrophone and something like the 2nd or 3rd level passive radar detection system.
50 Meter.
Batteries, second, I'm not quite sure, 2nd level batteries improvement. Anything else? Did I forget something? I think that's it so far.
55 Meter.
Yeah, I already have these torpedoes which do the pattern, although I never really much use it. I really try to give it a first hit,
Aktuelle Tiefe
and
50 Meter.
in the past I really never was able to take advantage of these meandering courses that the torpedoes can do. So I used to have 50-50 steam powered and electric torpedoes. And in the stern, I try to have mainly sound seekers. So the T5 Soundkönig. Yeah, they're great. I really have them mainly in my stern torpedoes because they are great if you are gonna get hunted by a destroyer from following you. Then it's pretty low probability that you would hit it with a ordinary torpedo, but with these you actually sink them with one hit often. On the other hand, going for a merchantman, it's like I don't quite like the T5 because the T5 used to go for the stern, and it's pretty often that one hit with the T5 is not sufficient to sink a ship, while most of the time the other two, the T3 and the T1, they one hit and a merchantman is sinking. So this is why I like to have the T5 in the stern tubes to get rid of destroyers chasing me. But usually in the front for torpedoes I don't have them, because they usually just go for the stern, for the engines and for the propellers, and often don't sink a ship. Yep. Yeah, that's alright. Problem is, well, finishing them with the deck gun is it works as long as there is no escort, right? And later in the war, the merchantmen even are their own escort and have deck guns with much more firepower than you have on the submarine. Yeah, okay. See, my dead reckoning is not that bad. Looks like the guys are there.
Kurs setzen. Auf Seerohrtiefe.
Yep. Yeah, Colin, good evening. So Scotland is there as well. Nice to have you in. Hope you're fine. Hope you had a good Friday. Yep. Yeah, the Type 9 doesn't make much sense in the Mediterranean, right? It's a long-range boat.
30 Meter.
Yeah, Captain Adonis. You had them pretty early. Yep.
Meter. Herr Kaloin, wir sind auf Seerohrtiefe. Boot für Rundblick eingesteuert.
Captain, please go for the attack periscope. And what's the estimated distance? 4 miles, okay. Yeah, it's pretty dark already, but yeah, we still have a bit of daylight. Perfectly fine. I could... Alright, there we are. So guys, now the guesswork is open. What do you think? What kind of ship is that? From this angle, it's always terribly difficult to guess. Velocity was 7, I think. And the angle on bow is pretty shallow. Let's give it a guess for now. And what about the distance? Yeah, we can't determine the distance as long as we don't have a guess what type of ship it is. And at the moment, well, I would think it's an Empire Bell, Empire Explorer, or Empire Tower. That's my guess at the moment, but not sure which one.
Kleine Fahrt zurück.
Yes, yep. And when I did Operation Drumbeat, I was still pretty far away from the release date. So I'm curious how it would feel to do the playthrough again when you have the possibility of upgrading to the Type 9. Yep, I think you're right. That's an Operation Drumbeat boat. So let's stop. And Mr. Grade, if you were so kind and support the guys at the depth steers to make sure that we don't breach the surface. There they are, coming in. So the gas is open. What kind of ship is this? Ah, okay, yeah, good point. Yeah, as for me, I actually chose the names from the movie. So my captain is actually the bosun, because something like 2 years ago, I was attacked by an air raid when I was just leaving port and the captain died. And so now Mr. Lamprecht, the chief bosun. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The movie Das Boot. And Mr. Lamprecht was the first bosun. And because my captain died, he's the captain now. Mr. Schultz is fantasy just from the game, but Mr. Grade, that's the name of the chief engineer, leitender Ingenieur in the movie. And I think, yeah, Mr. Ahlers is from the movie. No, I think it's from the game. Mr. Schneider, I don't quite know. Mr. Hinrich, he is actually from the movie as well. He's the guy who is doing the hydrophone. Hinrich. Mr. Strauss is from the game. So from the original start of the game, I have still Mr. Hinrich, Mr. Grade, and Mr. Lamprecht. These are the names that I took from the movie. Yeah, I watched the movie, I watched the series. Actually, if you mean that series from something like 5 years ago, I didn't actually manage to dive into it. I started to watch that series, and I think, yeah, it was something like after 2 or 3, I was, yeah, kind of, it didn't drag me in. It didn't work for me. I mean, the movie from the 80s, it was done in, yeah, the cinema version. There is a director's cut version of something like 3 hours. And there is this, the whole movie being divided into 5 parts, like a mini-series. But if you talk about the series, I guess you probably mean that series that we got a few years ago, right? And yeah, to be honest, that series really didn't catch me. Hogs of War? What is that? Captain Jimbo. Yeah, that's right, was it? Captain Adonis? Yeah, as I said, I only watched, I think, the first 2 or 3 parts of the series. And yeah, there was a lot about life on shore in Berlin, and don't remember that one. I think I don't know that. Hogs of War. Well, reminds me a bit of what was it? What was it, that kind of animated movies about that sheep on a Irish sheep farm? And there is also these pigs. Again and again. They're the bad guys in that animated series. Yeah, I really don't remember. Don't remember that game at all. So any guesses about the type of the ship for now.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
So it's not this one. It's 2 masts, so pretty sure it's one of the others. Is this one or that one? At the moment I would guess it's the bell. What do you guys think? Colin, you're pretty good usually in recognizing these. My guess is that it is a bell. Yeah, okay. The Explorer has this radio mast in the middle, and I think we don't have it here. So pretty sure that it's a bell. What do you think? Let me call it a bell. And let's see if we get a first guesstimate of the distance.
Aktualisieren.
Yeah, still something like 2 miles away.
6, 9, 7 Meter.
Yeah, the twilight is really the best time to attack. That's from my experience. I don't like night attacks, but these kind of twilight attacks, they're great. Where is the guy? There he is. $75. So their angle on bow on us at the moment would be roughly 20 degrees. And an update of the distance.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung 2, 9, 7, 8 Meter. Lage
Speed 7.
0, Bug,
Yeah, 7 miles.
Geschwindigkeit 7 Knoten.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Kleine Fahrt voraus.
$70. Angle on bow being 25 roughly. Distance.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren.
Okay.
Entfernung 1, 9,
1
8,
mile.
Meter. Lage 2, 6, Bug, links.
Distance is 1 mile right now. Yeah, should we really torpedo him? I think they would abandon ship when we tell them. Yeah, right, it's a bell. It doesn't have that radio mast in the middle and it doesn't have that cabin behind the chimney. Yeah, probably we shouldn't waste torpedoes here, but just try to frighten them away from the boat, from their ship.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung
65.
0 Meter.
$31.
Alle Maschinen. Stopp.
There they are. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Would be a beautiful hit. But yeah, come on, I think we can save the torpedoes. In the Mediterranean. We are in the Mediterranean now since something like 2 months, maybe more. I mean, in-game months. And we only ran into one single escorted convoy. And the rest was only single ships, which were easy to track down. Let's give it a save here.
Anblasen.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Kurs setzen. Große Fahrt voraus.
Communicate that you intend to sink the ship. After your crew sends the light signal that you're gonna sink the ship, a commotion is quickly seen on deck and the crew is leaving the ship. Very good.
Alle Maschinen stopp.
Very good. So, let's send a boarding party.
Funkraum besetzen.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Funkraum besetzen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Empire Heron, send a team.
Funktelegramm gesendet.
Mr. Schneider. Grade and Mr. Arles. And 6 hands to support them. Now we're gonna see the Zodiac getting over to the ship. And no air attacks exactly. Which is pretty unrealistic. We had been talking about that recently. Yep. They have to work on that. They really have to work on that. So the Mediterranean is not yet really ready. It feels like a bit of an unfinished scenario. It's alright, but not 100% finished, I would say. Go to the engine room and scuttle the ship without using explosives. I do have the engineering skill to do it. And down they go. Now, what about lifeboat 1?
Sie sinken.
Let's give them some. Lifeboat 1. Give them some supplies.
Funktelegramm gesendet.
And what about lifeboat 2? 1, 2. I can only get one of the guys on board. And give them supplies as well. You get some German sausages. You will enjoy it.
Halbe Fahrt. Voraus.
Let's go. Give it a save. And let's check what tonnage we got from that. Now, where have I been? 20 something. 20. Okay, that was a big guy. That 30. Yeah. Don't quite remember what we had before this one. But we got some tonnage. I think it was just a relatively small one. I think we were at 132,000 or something. So that was a rather small ship. But, yeah, better than nothing. Let me be AFK for 1 minute. Yeah, that was a small one, obviously. But it was a kill. It was tonnage. So let's carry on.
Kurs setzen.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
And on we go. Time of the day. Yeah, almost 6 o'clock. Better than a slap in the face with a fish, with a wet fish. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloy. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Jawohl, Herr Kaloy.
I think we are at something like 12, 13,000 tons for that patrol now, which is alright. Considering that we are playing at relatively high difficulty level, that is probably kind of realistic for a good and successful boat.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
And here we go, one more hydrophone check.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloy.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Yeah. Monja Mikkel, Maximakel. Yeah. I have to admit that I don't quite get the meaning by the word. But the meaning between the lines is kind of clear, yeah.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Yeah, old German saying would be, wer den
25 Meter.
Wer den Pfennig nicht ehrt, ist den Heller nicht wert. That would be more kind of an old school historic German saying. Which is maybe going into the same direction.
40 Meter.
Yep. Yeah, I got that. I was just thinking about what's a Makel and what's a Muckle.
Meter. Eine Tiefe 50 Meter.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
I had such a good time back then in Scotland. So, yeah, it's many years ago, and I somehow have to convince my family to spend some holiday again in Scotland.
55 Meter.
Yeah, okay, alright. By the way, I actually spent my honeymoon in Scotland. We spent our honeymoon in Scotland, actually on the on the Shetland Isles. I don't know if you, as a mainland Scottish, if you would still regard the Shetland Isles as part of Scotland, but I think in principle they are, aren't they? And even that voyage is quite a few years ago. And still no contact.
Kurs setzen.
Listening, and no contact.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Ah, come on, I have such one of these classic office chairs here, and the problem is that it seems to be broken, like losing air and dropping down all the time. Not all the time, but occasionally. And now I'm sitting pretty low at my desk. Yeah, they used to be part of Norway, and the language of the people there is, yeah, kind of a mixture between Scottish and Norwegian, right? Yeah, we had that. It was a beautiful holiday, and I remember that we ran into, well, actually, we had a bed and breakfast somewhere in the very north of the mainland with a nice old guy. And yeah, I was a bit surprised that it was so easy to understand the guy. For me, I'm not very good at accents, I have to admit, but that guy was so easily to understand. And well, on the next morning, so he had been, telling us a lot of stories about his life in the evening, sitting at the peat fire. And in the next morning, he offered to drive us to some nice hiking spot in his car. And then he just met another neighbor on the road and started to talk to the neighbor. And then we didn't understand anything. So it was more like that he was talking English like a foreigner a bit. So he spoke English like a foreigner or like a second language, and it was pretty easy to understand for us. And well, when he actually met one of his neighbors, he fell back into that local, language accent. I think it's almost like an own language. that mixture of Norwegian and Scottish
Herr Kaloi, wir sind
language, and we didn't understand anything. Yeah, pretty amazing. Beautiful countryside on these isles. Nice little towns. That was really great. I pretty much enjoyed it. So, one more watch.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Ich bin sehr müde.
Shall we do one more hydrophone check?
50 Meter.
Here we are. Hey, if you look at the waves and the spray, it still looks like it's more optimized for the Type 7, is it?
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. Motoren wechseln. Meter.
No. Let's see. Again, we have that enormous range of the hydrophone. There is some contact. Medium speed moving away. Let's go for it. We still have plenty of torpedoes.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
Mr. Strauss says that they are moving with medium speed, which might be a good indication that it's maybe not a fisherman.
55 Meter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, yep.
Meter.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning, so this is probably gonna be a day encounter. It's moving away. So typical speed 8 miles, 8 knots.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
One hour would bring us there. Let's see.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Let's finish the hydrophone check just to be sure that we don't miss anything.
Torpedorohr 6 gewartet.
Anblasen.
And there we go, back to the surface.
35
It's
Meter.
10 past 8, so we are gonna go until 10 past 9 and then do another hydrophone check to get a second data point of their position.
Aktuelle Tiefe 15 Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
10 past. Ah, shit. I forgot to to man the engines with experts to go flank. However, let's go for a hydrophone check. Yeah, just last weekend I had been watching the movie with our son. And yeah, I'm really wondering how many Type 7 submarines they actually manage to get into the Mediterranean. There was this
5 Meter.
bottleneck
Wechseln.
at Gibraltar. So was there a considerable fleet of Type 7 submarines in the Mediterranean? Or did they just not get them in there?
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy?
45 Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe
Yeah,
50
no,
Meter.
we are on the tail of one more merchantman, and I'm relatively sure that it's a merchantman and not just a fisherman. So we're gonna sink one more guy. Hopefully.
55 Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff.
There they are.
350 Grad.
Okay. So that's their course.
Meter.
Herr Kapitän?
They're pretty fast. They're even moving with 10 knots, obviously.
55 Meter.
Well, possible. Let's finish the hydrophone check. 5 minutes. Just to make sure that we don't miss anything. Yeah, that looks good. That looks very good.
Ja?
Anblasen. Aktuelle Tiefe 35 Meter. 10 Meter.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
2 hours. Let's go like that.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
And the next hydrophone check.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Yeah, guys, that's just great. So many people watching the stream. It's great to have you in. So don't feel pushed. I just see the number of watches going up. And if you just want to lurk silently, that's perfectly fine. But still, let me do that remark that I always love this, about communication. So I'm curious about where you're from, roughly, what your experience with the game is, what you think about the stream. So feedback is always welcome. A follow is always welcome, of course, as well. But yeah, don't feel pushed. Perfectly fine if you just lurk and watch.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Meter.
So now we should get that contact again. Should be there by now. Let's see if we get any signal from there.
Torpedorohr 6 gewartet. Meter.
Come on, give me another data point. Okay, James the Third. Yeah, 1472. Okay, so it was kind of the dowry then. Yeah, well, pretty weird how politics was done back in the days. Come on, give us a signal. We need some signal.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Jawohl. Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Anblasen.
Hey, come on, why didn't we get any signal?
45 Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelspfiff. Peilung 30 Grad.
Oh, okay. There they are.
Aktuelle Tiefe 25 Meter.
So we are still on the right track.
5 Meter. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
He is roughly going with 10 knots. It's a relatively fast moving merchant.
Kurs setzen. Kurs setzen.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
Six miles. Should be alright. 2 hours. I see 3, yeah, or a tanker. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what that guy is. Let's hope for a tanker. They're unarmed. Now it's 10 to 12. Let me be AFK for 1 minute. Yeah, 2 more hours. Let's go.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Yeah, a very satisfying firework. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what we're gonna do. So finally we were moving pretty slow again.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Going down.
Herr Kapitän,
Yeah, very good. Mr. Strauss.
Aktuelle Tiefe 25 Meter.
Ah, by the way, let's check the galley.
Schraubengeräusch, Handelsschiff, Peilung 55 Grad. Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
45 Meter.
Okay. So my dead reckoning is not so bad. I think it's indeed more or less moving with
50 Meter.
8 knots, 10 knots.
Kurs setzen.
What's our distance to their course at the moment? 6 miles. That should be out of detection range.
55 Meter.
So they would go for 1 more 10 miles and we would go for hopefully 16 miles to finally catch up with them.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter. Meter.
Ja?
Anblasen.
Aktuelle Tiefe 45
Auf
Meter.
Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht. Torpedorohr 6, gewartet.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Weiter geht's.
And one more hydrophone check. Now we should be even up with them. Let's see.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln. Aktuelle Tiefe 10 Meter.
Meter.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
So, give me the contact. There we are.
Peilung 90 Grad.
Yeah, it's pretty much where I guessed them to be. So my dead reckoning is not that bad.
Alarm!
Dafür haben wir trainiert. Wir werden das gemeinsam durchstehen. Alarm beenden. Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Alright guys, so I think it's gonna get late. I look at the time, it's 3 o'clock around here now. So time to go to bed for me and call it a day. It was a pleasure to have you. I think we were rather successful, having sunk another ship, and we are just about to chase down one more. So let's sink that one tomorrow. So it was a pleasure to have you, Colin. Great to have you in. Captain Jimbo, thank you very much for the raid. That was great. Captain Adonis, thanks for the follow. Nice to have you in. And the Savant, if you're still there, it's just great to have you. Aqua Icing, they're just the same. I'm almost 100% sure that you're still there. So, a good night to Canada. And Chainsaw, you briefly showed up. I don't know if you're still there. If you are, I wish you a good night. Holiday Punk, always a pleasure to have you in. And of course, Weight Loss, great to have you. And hopefully see you tomorrow. Vulvulu from Tunisia, nice to have you. And all of you guys have a good night. It's always such a pleasure to have all of you in the stream, all over the country, all over the world. So, see you guys. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.